A few months ago, I remember, I think it was around probably early this year, around January, February, sometime around then, we talked about the move towards electric vehicles. And I remember you were saying, and there was some kind of article or press releases coming out that diesel vehicles in Australia are going to be out by 2035. So we're actually now starting to see that even on small levels coming into fruition because Labor are now looking to introduce a really aggressive EV strategy. So can you
Uh,
share just more about this and what they actually plan to do?
So this is just madness, and it's oh fuck, it really, 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 really drives me insane when this happens. So you got Chris Bowen and his fucking compatriots in Canberra. They're driving ahead on this EV strategy, and one, we don't have a grid that can support it. One, we can't produce enough electricity to do it. Two, we're moving away from a dense energy to a non-dense energy, which fucking anyone with a grade two education can tell you doesn't make sense. But these guys are supposed to be intellectual fucking superpowers, and they can't even fucking work out the basics. So what basically Labor are doing is they're trying to align themselves with what the US is on vehicle emission targets and making sure that everyone drives an EV by 2035 or whatever it is. But we know Europe is backing out of all these agreements. We know that Porsche and Volkswagen are actually going down the ICE, keeping their combustion engine route, but changing the fuel that it drives on. You know, they're investigating hydrogen, methanol, and other green fuels. But because they know that the most efficient vehicle that we have on the market at the moment for producing the energy needed to drive the thing forward is an internal combustion engine. Now, I believe myself, the car of the future is going to be some sort of hybrid thing. Electric motors, as we know, are highly efficient. They are easier to maintain. They give you better performance and so forth and so on. And if you have a look at heavy industry has been doing diesel electric or hybrid electric generation and use for a long time. It just hasn't happened in the general automobile sector. So that's where I think we're going to end up. We're going to end up with some sort of hybrid outcome here. But the likes of Chris Bowen and his merry comrades is going to, they're so far behind the rest of the world that they're trying to catch up by going past the rest of the world, right? And to show, look how good we are, look how good we are. And as I've said before, most of these guys are only doing it so that they can look good on the world stage, because Australia is such a fucking minnow that we really don't matter, right? And they're trying to be the big man on campus, or the big man in when they go to these G20 meetings and the like, and they go, oh yeah, we're so good. Look at fucking us. We've destroyed our economy, but hey, we're on board with this EV thing. So what's going to happen is that they will ban internal combustion engine sales. They'll make, sorry, that's wrong. They won't ban internal combustion engine sales, but they will make the emissions criteria around them so erroneous and so hard to actually get to that you basically will go, well, say a Camry that has an internal combustion engine is 40 grand, an electric one is 35. So you'll go electric. And then we get into all the problems of how do you charge it, when do you charge it, you know, and a lot of this is backing up the strategy of we need electric cars in the system so we can take the power out of them to power the grid, right? When people get home, put on the kettle, turn the TV on, put the air conditioning on in summer, your car's parked in the driveway, the smart meter is going to go, there's some extra power, suck it out of the car's battery. And that's what's pretty much behind all this sort of stuff is this real weird, fucking smart, connected ideology that these guys have, because they know that they're never going to have enough energy in the grid. And it's nearly one of the things from this professor that I was reading about, and a lot of professors, I throw whatever they've got out, you know, straight away, because most of them are bribed as shit. But this guy was very anti anything to do with renewables, which was interesting. So he's not going to have a job for much longer, by saying that we will destroy more of the planet chasing renewables than we would if we just stuck with what we already got. Simple.
So really, if they're looking to just suck power out of cars, is that really going to actually like benefit them, or is it just going to cause more problems than what it's going to do to the power grids?
Oh, it's going to cause huge problems, right? Massive problem. Because what happens if you get home and you don't charge your car, right? Or you don't plug it in, right? And 20,000 people in an area don't plug their electric car in. The other problem is, some of these buildings that are being built today where people are living in high rises, there might be 3 friends living in there, so there's 3 cars to a household, but there's either no car parking space or 1 car parking space. So you've got all these people now with electric cars that can't find places, or that are being forced to use electric cars, that are having trouble finding parking spots to then plug them in and charge them. You know, you drive around places like the Gold Coast, right? And the Gold Coast is great for this. Is they built all these buildings near the light rail line on the Gold Coast that have absolutely no parking for most of the residents. So cars are littering all over the streets, or loitered all over the streets, right? And it just basically makes no sense that, well, how are these people going to charge the car? And the simple answer is they're not. And then what will happen is people won't go to won't be able to get to work, won't be able to drop the kids off for school, won't be able to do anything. So it'll just be a destruction of society. You know, it could, you know, it'll reinforce this work from then. This is the other part of the work from home thing, the sinister side of it, is, well, if you're working from home, you don't need a car. So when you need a car, why don't you carpool? Or you share with someone else? It's this gig economy stuff, or it's this share economy stuff. So basically say no to all of it, as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. Now, just have a few comments here, like, Aiden, how about a hybrid pitchfork? Works either way. Gina, ancient civilizations understood free energy. Nikola Tesla understood this, but Westinghouse and Edison destroyed him because there was no financial benefit to them and others.
Yeah, look, on the free energy thing, I'm yet to be convinced there is such thing as free energy. There is very, very, very low cost energy, but I don't think there's ever anything that is classed as free energy. And the simple reason being is you've got to make the device and upkeep the device that is generating it, right? So you might be able to create energy, and you can create energy from they do this a lot in the military world, especially where they've got big budgets, where they can take, say, 1 kilowatt in and put it through a device, and you get, 10 kilowatts out. Those devices do exist, and it's using the molecular structure of different magnetic products and different materials that do that. and those exist and have existed for years and centuries. Actually, people knew about it. But the actual idea of free energy or free, in my mind, doesn't exist, because you have to build it in the first place, and then you got to amortize that over X amount of years, and things degrade, and you got to repair them and all that sort of stuff. So there is a cost to anything, right? And that a lot of times that's never factored in, right? The one thing that people say about perpetual motion stuff, and I'm yet to be convinced that there is such thing as perpetual motion and all that sort of stuff, is because of gravity. Gravity. You've got to overcome gravity. So the energy required to overcome gravity to produce more energy to keep you going on a large commercial scale is pretty much impossible, as we understand it now. Look, there's probably some aliens that'll come down and give us some new technology at some point in time that overcomes that. But as I understand stuff now, I can't see it. Now, producing energy and consuming energy on a local level, i.e. your own home, is probably the most efficient way of producing, storing, and using energy ever. As soon as you've got to transmit energy, you're losing 30% of it. Through heat, through transmission loss, through a whole heap of other bits and pieces. And most of it is through heat. You know, atoms moving create heat, and heat is energy. So the closest that I understand free energy being is, or the very most low cost energy that you can get is designing something, and there is designs out there, building it, using it locally, not trying to do it on a commercial scale. And that is the problem that governments don't want to solve, is having everyone generate their own power at their own home or where they live or whatever, because they can't control it. They can't tax it. They can't have benefit from it. They can't say, look, we're providing this for you, right? And that's the reason that we have a grid, and that's also a reason why 90% of solar systems, it's probably actually more, 99% of solar systems are actually grid connected, and they're grid connected because that's how they control you through the subsidy, rather than you just biting the bullet, being totally disconnected, and building the system that you need to create your own energy. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we just had a comment from Glenn. Maybe that cars will all be Uber-type driverless cars, and we won't own our own cars. Yeah, probably it'll be 2030 and we'll own nothing and we'll be happy. That reminds me of that saying that you just put there. So electric, so they are programmable and controlled. It logically makes sense looking at what is happening now. Whether it's true or not, time will tell.
Yeah, and look, when you have a look at all these cars and all these, anything with a big battery in it, everything's going to be online connected, right? And I'm very, very wary. I've got a controller on one of the sheds on one of the properties where we're doing some work, and the first thing that the guys did when they come and installed it goes, oh, we've got to connect it to the internet so you can get upgrades. And I went, why? Why do I want upgrades when you can just bring out a stick and snick it into the side of the inverter and do the firmware upgrade that way? Why does it have to be connected to the internet? Why do I need to have a look at all the stuff on my phone when I could just walk over to the shed and have a look at it? Why do I need to sit on my couch and monitor the system, right? So once again, convenience, and this is what they sell, right? they sell, oh, it's convenient. You can look at it on your phone. Why the fuck did I want to do that? Right? I don't want the convenience. I want the power. And that's what they're all trying to do and all trying to push is this grid connected. You know, everything must be connected for your convenience. You know, we can monitor the state of, well, I can do that myself, or someone can come out and do it. And that's why they want you grid connected, is so they can suck your power. They can take it out of your batteries. They can, you know, turn off your devices and use your power elsewhere.